Hey guys, what's up? This is Hex, and today I'm going to be showing you some beginner tips for Conan Exiles for the PS4. And this is a survival game, and I feel that out of like all the survival games that are out there, this is a pretty strong entry into this particular genre. Now, much like other survival games, it does show you a tidbit of what to do on in certain instances, but there's quite a few things that they don't show you. And so with this video, I'm hoping that by showing you some of the stuff that they don't really teach you, that you'll get a head start on where to go and just basically what to do. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, guys. So right now we're pretty much close to the area. I think it's further down that way that you start out at when Conan frees you. And this, as you can see, it's a pretty desolate area. There's very little food and there's no water here. What you want to do is you want to make a stone axe and you want to make a stone pickaxe and plant fiber clothes. And so what you want to do is, just basically follow directions that are on the bottom right of your screen. And so if you want to interact, just tap square and you start collecting stuff. So you want to collect branches, rocks that might be laying around like these right here, and just collect plant fibers for your clothes. Now the outfit that I'm wearing right now is something you're going to be making later on, so don't think this is what you're going to look like when you start making the plant fiber clothes. But just collect the stuff you need to craft your outfit and your tools. And while you do have enough time to do all this, you don't want to stay around this desert forever because it will kill you after a while, because you will get thirsty and of course hungry. So what you want to do is you want to make for some water. And so right here I am, and you just want to go north to where the river is at. That way you have this constant supply of water, because otherwise if you hang around here you're just simply gonna die. Now you'll notice that there's some icons on the top left. The red is your life bar, the yellow is your stamina. Now the bottom four globes or circles, whatever you want to call them, the one on the first one is your water, the second one is your food, the third one is of course your encumbrance, and I believe the fourth one is your temperature. Now as you can see, I'm about halfway on my water. It's yellow, which means I need to get water here soon. It's not really a a huge priority right now because I can still get stuff, but once it starts to dip a little bit further, you may want to you want to be concerned and try to head to where there's water. And as you can see, food wise, I'm still in the green. Now as far as encumbrance goes, the more it fills up, because right now it's at a green, the more it fills up, it'll change colors. So when you get more stuff, it'll start to turn yellow, and then when it gets to the point where you can't hold anymore and you're struggling to move, that's when it's red. So you'll want to pay close attention to that, because eventually you'll be crafting like chests that you can actually put your stuff in. That way you don't have to pack a lot of materials along with you. You'll want to keep some on you, like rocks and branches, and plant fibers. Not a whole lot, because you'll gain too much weight. So you just want maybe like 20 rocks, maybe, or maybe 20 plant fibers, so on. That way you'll have enough to repair your stuff, but it won't overburden you. So by now you've probably gotten a little bit further in the game, and you want to make a base, whether it be permanent, or temporary, or what have you. Now I used a lot of my experience in previous survival games to kind of help me along, but there was still quite a few things that I had to learn. just by trial and error. Now, as you recall, I mentioned that in order to craft clothes or tools, you had to pick up, um, like plant fibers and rocks and so on. But you can actually also, as far as rocks go, you can break them down and get them that way once you get your tool made, which I already have a stone pick. And you can just basically use your attack button. In the case of this one, it doesn't matter because you could use either R1 or R2 and just basically, get your rocks that way. Now, these rocks will come back at some point. I don't know what the respawn rate is, but you don't have to worry about mining everything and then suddenly going, oh great, now I have nothing else to use. Now, if you want wood, you can use the pickaxe or you can use a stone axe. If you want bark, because there's going to be some things that you make that are required to have bark, I would probably use a stone pick, because not only will you get wood, as you can see on the right, it shows what I'm getting, which is wood and bark. For whatever reason, the stone hatchet just only gets wood. I don't know why it wood and branches, so I don't know why it doesn't get bark as well. But I guess it is what it is. Now, let's say I want to put a foundation down on the ground, which I already have one pre-made, and I decide, what, I'm gonna place it right here, and then let's say for sake of argument that I decide, hey, maybe I changed my mind, maybe I want it over here somewhere. Well, the thing is, you can't really interact with it by just tapping square, and it seemed like for a while that there was really no way to really interact with it, because I kind of got confused on this until I accidentally discovered this later on. But if you want to get rid of a piece, and in the case of this, I don't think you can really store it, you can just destroy it. You just hold down you just point to the object that you just made, whether it's a floor, wall, or what have you, and just hold down the square button for a few seconds. And then you want to choose dismantle, and you get your, some of your wood and your stone back. And after a while, this is going to disappear. But when I first started, I didn't really know this, so I started to make a temporary, because there was stuff like a chest that you can't just set on a normal ground like this. You have to have a foundation, and so I was trying to experiment by putting a foundation there, and then once I decided to move, further down the shore to make more of a permanent base, I couldn't figure out really how to get rid of what I had. It was like, well, I can't transport it with me. How am I going to do this? So for a while, I left it, alone until I finally figured out how to do that. But this is one of those things where they just don't really show you how to do it, because as you can see, I'm pointing down, and it's not really telling me an option of really, it'll say, tap square, but it doesn't really, even if you tap it, it's still not going to do anything. You have to hold down the square to really get it to do what you want it to do. Now, at some point, I may do a building tutorial. It just really depends whether or not this is if this video gets popular or not. We'll see how it goes. If it's not popular, this just may be just a one-off. But, so, on to the next thing, which is going to be combat. Damn, my character looks like it's about to fuck somebody up. Now, combat-wise, it pretty much explains how you do it on the bottom right. If I want to block, I'm going to be using, L2. If I want to use a regular attack, I use R1, and the special attack is R2. And then, of course, circle is a dodge. Now the weapons that you see me, the weapon you see me currently welding right now, as well as the shield, you're not going to be able to make those at the beginning of the game. You will be making a wooden shield as well as a stone sword, and I would probably try to make those as soon as possible because you're pretty much defenseless. But you could try to use your axe, but your axe doesn't do squat, like at all. It barely puts any kind of damage, on anything that's fighting you. Now, enemy-wise, there's a variety of critters that are going to be after you, even some fellow humans that will try to kill you. This server that I'm currently on right now is private, so it's just me and whoever I get, friend-wise, to come and join me. There is no PvP on this particular server because I don't want to, have my stuff ganked every time I have my back turned. But the thing that it doesn't tell you about is locking onto a particular, creature or person. And this is very important to use because when you lock onto something, they'll have a bar above their heads, and that's how you can tell really if it's something you're going to be able to take or not. Now, so we have like this crocodile right here. I'm going to lock on, and as you can see, I don't want to mess with it, and the reason being is you see a skull that's right below their well, it's kind of actually almost inside their life bar. That means that creature will be way too powerful for me, and it'll most likely kill me. So what I want to do is I want to just go ahead and hit R3 again to kind of back off from it, because there's just no way I'm going to beat it. And I'm going to see if I can find something like another crocodile that might be more suitable for me to attack. And it's going to be the same thing with like people you run into. I have yet to run in, I'm not saying that there isn't, but I've yet to run into a person that's not hostile. There's like, just like hunters and cannibals that will be really super hostile to you, so you gotta be aware of that. So when you lock on, again, that will be more manageable. So, as you can see, I can roll and do all sorts of stuff, and I'll still be facing them. Now if I take it off of it, I'll be able to face away from them. Which is fine for a little bit, but I just highly recommend just locking on. And it's mostly just a matter of just watching their patterns, because crocodiles will genuinely, excuse me, I'll get out here in a minute, generally do like a lunging attack. And now I can just simply loot the body and get the skin and bones and so on. And then I have more stuff to basically craft with. But, if you're doing combat, I would highly recommend locking on. Now, if there's more than one, I'd say do whatever feels right to you, but at least make sure to lock on at first to make sure that whatever you're fighting is, something that you can have a good chance of surviving. Now, if you happen to not have a shield, and maybe you're still in the process of trying to get the materials to make one, you can still do a kick. It won't be the same as a block, so I would recommend just rolling out of the way of enemies to get away from them, until you get enough materials where you can essentially make your shield, or maybe whatever weapon you want to make. But that's all I wanted to talk to you guys for today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope to talk to you guys real soon. Take care.